dolls who are clearly, you know, perverts, so that doesn't represent the whole male population. But this poster actually covers that as well. There's also a graph here of how big men like breasts on anime women to be, and again, we have the...
Oh God, yeah, that's very indicative of the larger sex of men is anime fans. Yeah, that makes sense, of course.
biggest result being large breasts, and for this just do overlays. And also apparently when you look for not safe for work images of breasts, the most popular ones that come up are of just absolutely huge ones. And actually there's an image here that I thought was interesting. That is what the median sex doll looks like. So I guess the most general sex doll, which is most likely to please the most amount of men. And here again we see the same figure, huge boobs, tiny waist, and bigger hips / a butt. And now that body type, it does frankly line up with what we would think of as a quintessentially kind of bombshell type figure. And again, despite the fact that this sex doll is separated from those fertility statues by thousands of miles and maybe thousands of years, we see that they still have
Oh my God, she's
as
insane.
similar as the sex doll is to the fertility goddess
She's
love
insane.
statues or whatever.
Wow.
What the sex doll is not similar to, ironically enough, is modern images of what a woman should look like. And now I'm not sure if this poster is a man or a woman, but in regard to fashion models having a very different body type than what men conventionally find attractive, I think what's important to note here that this poster maybe doesn't seem to understand is that fashion models are marketed toward women, not men. So when we're looking at what a fashion model's body looks like, I don't think it's necessarily the media trying to brainwash us into saying that men should find super tall.
I like how she's gonna make a split the difference, you know, between like fashion and sexual arousal through like sex dolls, but she's not making the correlation between a religious icon usually used for ritual and ceremony and a fuck doll. Like that, totally comparable. No, yeah, it's totally fine, you know, but look, it's different though because of fashion and like head empty, no fucking thoughts.
Super skinny women attractive. I think it's more that maybe that's the type of body that women like. And I think there's also an aspect to it of high fashion trying to be exclusionary to the max. You know, it doesn't matter how hard you try, you can't be 6 foot tall if you're just not 6 foot tall, especially if you're a woman and you're gonna be shorter. And you know, these extremely thin body types, oftentimes that's just not realistic or healthy for people. So on top of these companies trying to market toward women and not men, you know, women just aren't interested in the Kate Upton body type as much. We also, I think, have the factor of these fashion companies trying to almost give this air
so she's not even gonna show a picture of
it. Or saying, hey, look at how special and different we are. We are not like your average person. So that's one form of media representation that's very different from, you know, what men apparently tend to find attractive. But now we...
Okay, again, we have to talk about this because the only source that she's giving is this random incel's fucking Twitter profile, okay? And I'm feeling pretty confident after seeing that he's trying to justify his big boob fetish by where he's getting his stats from. The only statistic she's basing this off of is a very specific group, not a large group, because that would disprove the point, of fertility goddesses and goddesses in general in antiquity, and sex dolls, and fuck dolls, and hentai. And, like, that's how she's basing this. And it's so insanely bizarre. It makes absolutely no sense. I don't know how fucking dumb you have to be to think that this is a fucking argument. But it's simple. Look. Some people like certain body types to look a certain way, okay? Some guys like fat women. Some guys like thin women. Some guys like medium women. Some like fit. Some like soft. Some like certain hair colors, certain hair lengths, certain hairstyles. Sizes of boobs, sizes of butt, waist, whatever. Long legs, short legs. Simple as that. The most important thing for attractiveness to really occur is something to be a hook. Now, an incredibly vapid and what's the word? Shit. It's such an easy word. Everybody should tell me it in the chat right now. If you only care about something on a very surface level and there's nothing deeper into it, chat, help me out, because I swear to God, I'm gonna feel like a fucking idiot if I can't think of this fucking word. But if you are going to base the very fundamental bedrock for your attractiveness on just something simple as that, hollow's not right. Shallow. Yes, shallow, superficial, vacuous. That's a good one too. Then you're kicking yourself in the ass, because the true nature of being attracted to somebody is something that makes them special to you. Now, yeah, I guess if you just want some woman with giant fucking honkers and whatnot, like they could probably suck in bed, maybe they're awesome in bed. Maybe there's a personality trait about them that you just can't fucking stand. Maybe their voice is the worst thing you've ever heard in your life, like Lauren's. Who knows? So for me, like, I do not really have a whole lot of like physical preferences. Don't really care. For me, you know what the most attractive thing is for me? Boldness. That's what I like. Boldness. Now, don't get me wrong, if you want to be a little meek and get tied up and fucking, you know, like I'm down, I'm cool like that. But something about your personality. Bold. Being bold. I like that. That's what I find the most attractive out of anything. So that's just kind of how it is.
Ow.
Yeah, I mean, and there are definitely some different things too that can like sway baldness. No, boldness. Although I do tend to find bald chicks very attractive. Yeah, but I don't need them to be bald. You know, I just it's kind of like a interesting. But yeah, no, this is hilariously stupid. Even for a Lauren video. Because usually Lauren doesn't try boneless. Yes, definitely boneless. I like women with no bones. Bones just get in the way. I need to be able to like tie you up and fold you up and stick you in a pillowcase and use you like a fleshlight. Anyway, I don't know where I'm going.
That's fucking
anyway,
weird, Jeff.
You I gotta end this video quick. So, look. Lauren's videos are always stupid. They're always stupid. But just the fact that she tried to do sort of a scientifically minded video and her source bones. Her source was some random incel on Twitter. Just makes it so much more stupid. And you know what? I'm happy that we did this. I'm happy. I feel like this is time well spent.
Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So today we are going to talk about Trump and the state of New York.
I wonder what's going on with the fucking AC that they've got this stuff
going
going
to kind
on.
of break it all down, go over bits and pieces of it, and talk about where it is likely to go from here. If you missed it, Attorney General James of the state of New York has filed suit. And the request for relief is in the amount of $250 million. Also requesting that some of the people be barred from ever being a director in an entity up there again. And to cancel Trump Organization's corporate certificate. That last one, it sounds like a little thing in comparison to everything else. That's actually huge. If that happens, they don't work in New York anymore. It's kind of a big deal. Okay, so we'll go over the allegations. And keep in mind, at this point, they are allegations. They have not been tested in court. The people named in the suit are Trump Jr., Ivanka, Weisselberg, and then there's another executive, McConey. Fact check that. And those are the individuals. The allegations lay out a 10-year pattern of false or misleading statements. And the suit identifies a couple hundred of them, alleges a couple hundred of them. The general premise is that Trump wanted his net worth to go up every year, on paper at least. And the team, well, they made that happen. Even if there wasn't a reason for the net worth to go up. These documents were created, okay? And they were basically summaries of financial health of the company, their valuations, stuff like that. Okay? One of them that I think is most notable is dealing with a building on Wall Street, because, you know, the man of the people obviously owns a building on Wall Street. But in 2010, there was an appraisal that they had for $200 million. In 2011, they said it was worth $524 million. That is a huge jump. Now, in theory, you could say, well, obviously something happened to drive the property value up. The problem is that, according to the allegations, in 2012, there's another appraisal for $220 million, but it doesn't stop there. Wait, there's more. In 2012, they listed that property as being worth $527 million, and then in 2013, they listed it as being worth $530 million. These aren't simple cases of being a little lazy and rounding something or minor mistakes. These are huge. These are huge misrepresentations, if that is in fact what happened. Another one deals with Trump's apartment, which was said to be 30,000 feet, 30,000 square feet. Problem is in real life, it's 11,000. But based on that square footage size, they valued the apartment at $327 million. It appears that no apartment in New York has ever sold for anywhere near that amount. This is the kind of the examples that will be used. Now, the obvious question is, I mean, this is just Trump. Like, I mean, for real, this is, you can't know anything about Trump and not expect something like this. When it comes to inflating the size of things or the value, that's like his thing, you know. We kind of all expect that. So what's the difference between this and him talking about crowd size
The
or
herb
whatever
respawn yet?
else? These forms were used by lenders and insurers. They were presented to be used in that way. And that's what the allegation hinges on. To take it out of, you know, the billionaire elite class and bring it down here to us commoners, this would be pretty similar to you and your partner making 80 grand a year, but when you go to buy a house, you have forms that say you make $240,000 a year. There's a word for that. When it comes to these types of documents being used in a bank, being used for financial purposes like this, there's an expectation of accuracy that, by what we've seen, wasn't met. And by the allegations, it was intentional. You know, the differences are not something that could be explained by, you know, a simple mistake. Especially given the pattern and the length of time that it went on. Now, this is civil. This is civil, but there have apparently been referrals made to the IRS and the Department of Justice believes. Based on what's here, yeah, this is, they're probably going to take a look at it. They will probably take a look at it. So this will, rather than kind of summing up one case on the whiteboard, it adds 2 more. I have a feeling that the feds will follow up on this. So, is this going to be the case that brings Trump down? No. But if what has been presented thus far is accurate, which I have no reason to believe it's not, and the Trump team doesn't have a really good reason for all of this to have occurred, yeah, Trump's probably going to end up paying on this one a lot. There's an expectation when it comes to Trump now that most people have. Most people know that he exaggerates, embellishes. There's a lot of nice words that you could use for that. That's not the word that's going to be used in court for this. The fact that these wound up on financial documents and were used as a basis, that's kind of a big deal. Based on what we've seen, I'm kind of surprised that the criminal case out of New York hasn't moved forward. I know they say that it's still ongoing, but it seems like that would have come out before this. So that is a brief summary of this. This is going to be a giant pain for Trump, more legal troubles at a time when he probably could use a break from them. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.
That's still recharging.
Speak, friend.
I'm out of range.
Means we're gonna need 5.
It's too far away.
G'day guys and gal, there is a shitload of Space Marine chapters, about 1000 give or take, and whilst 40k does a wildly good job of exploring hundreds of characters, sub-factions and events in great detail, it just can't give every chapter a codex or a dedicated novel. As such, we're left with dozens of incredibly interesting and engaging chapters that have at least one super unique thing about them. However, they are just barely fleshed out, meaning I honestly don't have enough content on them to make a dedicated video. So I thought, why not pick 5 of the most interesting and obscure chapters and present them in one good hit, like a primed heroin needle striking directly into a juicy vein. However,
The
before
fuck?
I educate you with facts and logic, with the year wrapping up, I have a goal. Well, I have like 6 goals, but the one I'm working on today is to get to 420,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Now, most YouTubers will just ask nicely, but I'm not like normal YouTubers. I'm a cool YouTuber. So if we do get to 420,000 subs before the end of the year, I'll hire a hot female model, chuck her in Spexy Warhammer cosplay, and upload it for you guys and gals for free. If that isn't the mother of all incentives, then I just don't know what is. So grab your buddies, grab your girlfriends, yeah right, and slap that juicy subscribe button. Today we'll go over 5 obscure but wildly interesting Space Marine chapters. Chapters you've probably never heard of, but will make you go, oh, no shit, that's super interesting. Let's get into it. First up is the Death Spectres, who really deserve their name. They are the guardians of an eldritch horror that lurks within the Ghoul Stars, a horror that could destroy the galaxy. The cool part is that this mysterious force isn't even chaos related, so it adds that unknown Lovecraftian vibe. Everything about these dudes is dark and grim. Their chapter name, their aesthetic, their culture, they are literally part of the 13th Dark Founding after all. The darkness they watch out for was so horrific and damaging to the galaxy that all of its records have been expunged. All we know is that during the 34th millennium, an apocalypse emerged from the Ghoul Stars and destroyed a shitload of worlds and killed over 12,000 Space Marines. It was eventually beaten back at great cost, with the Death Spectres getting founded purely to keep it contained. The Emperor himself literally gave their chapter master specific instructions to seek out a special world which had like a glass throne that was kind of like a bitch version of the Golden Throne. As the dusty, scrotumed Emperor rarely ever communicates with anyone, this was a big deal. The greatest of the Death Spectres must sit upon this throne of glass and are slowly petrified. While on the throne, they are so focused that they can barely communicate with their chapter, just like the Emperor, yet they are said to gain incredible power. However, it's not clear what power that is. A good theory is that it is the power to keep the darkness of the Ghoul Stars shackled. There is a prophecy that says that one day a mighty Death Spectre will arise, who will overcome the power of the glass throne and use it to do something cool. Unclear what, but either way that adds a lot of destiny and dope lore for an obscure Raven Guard successor who lurk on the fringes of the galaxy. Unfortunately, we don't really get to see much of them as they are so hell-bent
I have a
on
key,
guarding
might as well
against
use
the
it.
Ghoul Stars that they barely ever get involved with the rest of the galaxy. To them, the fall of Cadia, the Great Rift, Gilliman's return are minor inconsequential things compared to their duty. A lot of people say that the Ultramarines have sticks up their asses and adhere way too closely to the Codex Astartes, making them boring and predictable. However, compared to the Red Scorpions, they look like radical renegades. The Red Scorpions literally adhere word for word to the Codex Astartes, like an evangel adheres to the Bible. No grey area, room for open interpretation or anything. Space Marine book is all they want and need. They are so hardline that they have absolutely zero interaction with anything except pure abhuman. They won't deal with abhumans like squats or ogrins. They won't even think about not killing Xenos. They are literally a bunch of self-righteous purists that think they are better than anyone because they've never seen what a vagina looks like. Their gene seed is extremely stable and pure by their own design. Like, they have the highest ratio of apothecaries of any chapter in the galaxy in order to keep extremely high quality control of their gene seed. Their second in command is an apothecary. They're also semi-unique in that they believe without doubt that the Emperor is a god, something very few chapters believe, putting them in the same category as the absolutely bananas Black Templars. Now, all this does make them pretty intolerable to have a beer with. However, they're actually incredibly effective and reliable Space Marines, taking their war to all corners of the galaxy and maintaining great recruitment rates due to their excellent gene seed. But there's a catch. Nobody has any idea what original legion they came from. It would be easy to guess Ultramarines due to the gene seed stability and their obsession with the Codex Astartes, but it's implied that their origins are a lot more sinister. The Emperor's children, Iron Warriors, and Wordbearers were all known to have very stable gene seed, so there's a chance that the Red Scorpions were founded from a traitor legion rather than a loyalist one. This could be why their records are sealed, and could also be why they oppose any form of chaos or Xeno so ruthlessly. Perhaps they are compensating. I would say that due to their fanatical adherence to the Codex and their zealous belief in the Emperor's godhood, they are word-bearer successors. After all, during the heresy, some in the traitor legions deserted to the loyalist side. Maybe the word-bearer loyalists eventually founded the Red Scorpions. The color of their armor is quite similar after all. Every Blood Angel successor chapter deals with the Red Thirst and Black Rage in their own way. Some only drink the blood of their enemies, some drink the blood of their servants but don't kill them. And then there's the Angels Vermilion, who go fucking bonkers purge mode once every 50 years, and then are on their best behavior in between. I'll get to what they do in a second, but holy shit, it's pretty fucked. This chapter is ancient, founded just after the Horus Heresy, and they have been serving the Imperium loyally and effectively for 10,000 years, winning countless decisive victories and saving a shitload of people. Yet, they fucking hate themselves. They are extremely embarrassed and ashamed of the Red Thirst. They see themselves as monsters, hence isolate themselves from the other Blood Angel successors. In order to deal with the Red Thirst,
Oh,
once every
fuck.
50 years they will round up thousands of servants, serfs, and innocent Imperial citizens, murder them, drain all their blood into a massive pool, and then they will all bathe in the pool, drinking from it, and even cutting incisions in themselves for maximum absorption. Yeah, they all have fucking AIDS for sure. With the remaining blood, they then put them into injectors in their power armor to act as battle stings. This seems really fucked, and it kinda is, but it's also wildly effective. Very, very few Angels Vermilion fall to the Black Rage or Red Thirst for those 49 years in between the blood orgies. The Angels Vermilion are amongst the
There,
most noble
fixed.
of the Sons of Sanguinius. Also, to be fair to them, the killed are buried with full honors and are surgically killed so there is no pain. It's not like they just go ape shit with them or anything. Ironically, the Angels Vermilion actually kill significantly more innocent people than the Flesh Tearers, as the Flesh Tearers generally only kill and eat the enemies of mankind, only occasionally losing their marbles and killing the guardsmen under their command. The Angels Vermilion, on the other hand, will kill thousands of innocents at a time, so it's funny how one is seen as a bastion of nobility and the others are considered savages. The Angels Vermilion have been able to keep their unique method a secret. However, they did have a mini-war against the Order of the Argent Shroud, one of the main Sister of Battle convents. But I can't find the reason in the lore, so I'm not sure if it was just bolter bitches being fucking crazy, or if they got a whiff of some messed up shit the Vermilion did. Either way, an interesting chapter. Ultramarines are considered to be the most straighty 180, reliable, and even human of all the Astartes. But the reality is that their superpower isn't their math skill or their Aryan overlord. It's actually their adaptability and versatility. Hence, many Ultramarine successors are wildly different to their original chapter, none more so than the Mortificators, a chapter of steadfast and loyal cannibals that defile the corpses of their enemies and wear their bones as trophies. What the fuck? They are kind of obsessed with death, having their own religion that worships death and the Emperor at the same time. So how did an Ultramarine successor chapter become a blend of Nightlord and Death Guard? Well, they are actually a second founding chapter, meaning their first Astartes served under Guilliman and even the Emperor. When the chapter was first created, the chapter master got a vision from the Emperor to go to a certain human world and begin recruiting from it. That world was a savage world full of cannibals and superstition. As the chapter became more and more full of people from this world, it took on its culture and practices. Its ships and fortress monasteries are full of what initially appears to be statues, but is actually the preserved corpses of fallen battle brothers, whilst their chapters are full of skulls and bones. The best part about it is these guys aren't even slightly heretical. Despite it sounding like Khorne would have a field day with them, they are completely loyal, super reliable, and possess a lot of common sense. For example, their opinion of the Codex Astartes is one of the best ones to have, which is that whilst it contains valuable knowledge written by a genius, their Primarch, it is very old and outdated, so to follow it to the letter despite how the galaxies change would be a foolish thing to do. Overall, however, they are still considered to be Codex compliant. If you have to pick any original legion for these guys to be descendant from, I bet nearly none of you would have thought of the Ultramarines, but here we are. So next time you want to shit on the boys in blue for being generic, just remember the kind of stuff they've spawned. Finally, we have the Raptor Marines, who are more or less real-life reasonable Marines. Something that is kind of stupid about Space Marines is that they don't really ever wear camo, like the Raven Guard kind of do if they fight in the dark, but for the most part, the Ultramarines will be blue and golden in any theatre of war, giving away their position pretty much instantly every time they engage the enemy. The Raptors, however, are not retarded, opting to camouflage their armor and value reason and tactics over all else. You'll never catch a Raptor being like, For the Emperor! Before charging a Tau gun line and getting turned into Swiss cheese. Despite this intelligent approach to war, they have been driven to extinction multiple times, as it's common knowledge that the universe of 40k despises any and all who use common sense and don't just autistically charge into melee combat the first chance they get. Their near extinction has come more from their dedication to duty rather than bad luck, like the Lamenters, or obscene fuck-ups. The Giga Chads in the Raptor chapter are the Astartes who can shoot the best, win hide and seek, and resist the urge to take off their helmets mid-battle to try look cool. Unfortunately, this has resulted in most of the other Loyalist chapters calling them a bunch of dishonorable pussies, to which the Raptors simply reply by saying, "Lick my camoed nuts, you fucking chodes." That's word for word, trust me, I was there. Funnily enough, despite the Raptors and the Red Scorpions being wildly different, they are actually good friends, fighting alongside each other on numerous occasions. Does the upfront and zealous combat style of the Scorpions complement the stealthy hit and run of the Raptors? Fuck no, there's like no synergy here, with each battle they team up in resulting in a lot of Red Scorpion casualties with very little for the Raptors. Good thing the Scorps have great gene seed then, eh? I mean, yeah, you could say that having teammates that basically suicide into the enemy and draw their attention makes stealth easier, but overall not the most efficient strategy. It'll come as absolutely no shock to anyone, but yes, the Raptors are Raven Guard successors. Final fun fact for them, their librarians have special Raptor-only warp spells that are actually pretty sick. Like they can summon a flock of angry warp birds that peck bad guys to death. Hell yeah, dude. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then Patreon is the place to be, where there is not only a boatload of Battle Mace 40 million hentai, but also nude cosplay calendar shop.